10 things that you want to stop doing today. If you're feeling like you're out of alignment in your life, you haven't been able to manifest your dreams and your goals, I want to talk to you about 10 things that most of us are doing on a daily basis, that most of us are doing on a regular basis, that are constantly taking us out of alignment. Let me just scoot that back a little bit. Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jessica Cooper, and I am a divine alignment strategist. I'm also a therapist, a coach, a first lady, a mom, a lot of other things. But today I want to talk to you about how to stop doing these 10 things. If you're doing any of these 10 things on a regular basis, I promise you in some capacity, they're taking you out of alignment. They're causing you not to be able to focus all of your energy into accomplishing what it is that you want to accomplish. Okay. And so we're going to get right to it. Alignment. If you weren't on my last live, I talked about what alignment means. Divine alignment is when our emotions are in sync with our goals, and our goals are in sync with God's will for our life. Okay, so if you have goals, you have plans, but you don't have the energy and the emotions to accomplish it, then it's not going to get done, right? And also, if you have these goals, these plans, but they're not in alignment with what God desires for you, it takes you out of what I call the blessing zone. So a lot of people are fulfilling goals, they're fulfilling their dreams, but they're out of alignment still because they're not in sync with God's will and God's desire for their life. And so I want to talk to you about 10 things that many of us do on a regular basis that are taking us out of alignment, taking us out of our emotional alignment, taking us out of our purpose. Okay, so we're going to get right to it. The first thing is this. The first thing that you are probably doing that you want to stop doing if you want to get into alignment is to stop using social media so much during the day. And this is number 10. This is the most practical one because we hear this all the time. But if you are using social media on a regular basis, especially first thing in the morning, I guarantee you this is something that will take you out of alignment. And I will say right along with that a lot of people may not agree with is the news. If you are watching the news first thing in the morning, that is something that is automatically going to take you out of emotional alignment. And I believe that the only reason to watch the news periodically throughout the day is if you are somehow connected to it. If you need to know the weather, you need to know what's going on in the government. But for most of us, the news is really just a distraction. Even social media is just a distraction. So the problem with social media is that it takes you out of your flow. Like that's one of the reasons why I stopped using Periscope. I completely deleted the Periscope app because every 5 seconds there's a ding, there's a ding, there's a ding. This person is live, that person is live. And they're talking about God knows what. They're talking about things that are not even relevant to what you're doing right now and what you're trying to accomplish right now during your day. And so these notifications, such and such tagged you, such and such like your post, all of these things, they will automatically take you out of alignment because we're trying to get into the flow. There's a saying that says that where your focus goes, your energy flows. And so we're trying to get into a flow. We're trying to accomplish things. We're trying to fulfill purpose. We're trying to work on assignments. And then there's a ding here. There's a ding there. There's this person like this person like that. Let me check social media. Those things are absolute distractions that will take you out of the flow. One of the things that I'm training myself to do is not to even use my phone for the first so many hours of the day. I don't even want to use my phone because most of the time it simply distracts me. It takes me out of my flow, out of my focus. I can't concentrate. I can't get into my zone and I can't be productive. Okay, so the number 10 thing that you want to stop doing if you want to stay in alignment in your life is decrease the amount of time that you're using social media or eliminate the news altogether. I don't watch the news. I read the news. If there's something that I need to catch up on, I might read it, but I don't believe in watching the news because it's too much programming. They're trying to program your mind. They're training you what to think about, what to talk about, what to focus on. And that almost automatically takes you out of alignment. So that's something I stopped doing a long time ago because it was sucking my energy and draining my energy. Okay, so number 10, decrease your social media time and decrease your news watching time if you're someone who watches the news. Okay, so number 9 is this. The number 9 thing that you want to stop doing in order to get back into alignment is creating limitations for yourself. And what I mean by creating limitations for yourself is saying that I'm the type of person that doesn't do this. I don't do that. I'm not into reading. I don't get along with other women. I don't hang with other women. I don't want kids. I just don't want to. I'm not this type of person. I'm not that type of person. When we say these things, we automatically cut off possibilities for ourselves. We automatically start cutting off possibilities for ourselves. And when we do this, we're taking ourselves out of alignment because there's something that we may not have been exposed to yet. There's something that maybe we haven't opened ourselves up to yet, but it doesn't mean that it's not a possibility for you. You might say that I'm not outgoing. I'm not somebody who enjoys going out. Like all of these things, they tend to cut off possibilities. They limit us. And so what you want to do is be a person who's open to everything, because at any point we can all change. At any point you can be another type of way. It's simply a choice. But whenever we say these things, we begin to cut off possibilities. We begin to limit ourselves. And this takes us out of alignment. And so be a person who's open to anything. Be a person who says, you know, I don't always show up that way, but I can choose to show up another way. I can try that. Be a yes person. Be a person who's open to try something new and open to try something different. And when you do this, you open up your possibilities, and this can bring you into greater alignment. Okay, so the number 8 thing that you want to stop doing immediately, if you want to be in alignment with yourself, the number 8 thing you want to stop doing immediately is breaking your promises to yourself. You want to stop breaking promises to yourself if you want to stay in alignment. What happens if somebody constantly breaks their promise to you? They say they're gonna call you at a certain time, they're gonna meet you at a certain time, they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that, and they don't do it. It makes you devalue that person. It makes you devalue that person's word. When somebody says they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that, and they don't do it. And so what happens when we break our own promises to ourselves is that we begin to devalue ourselves. It might not be conscious, but subconsciously we start to devalue ourselves. We start to devalue our own word. When you're constantly saying, we create a pattern, a momentum. When we're fulfilling our goals, when we say, I'm going to get up at this certain time every day, when we say that I'm going to finish writing this book, I'm going to finish this assignment, I'm going to finish school, it starts a momentum. It starts a pattern in us that it creates a certain momentum for success. But the opposite happens when we constantly make excuses for ourselves for why we haven't finished or accomplished what we said we're going to accomplish. It creates a momentum of negativity. And before you know it, you're feeling depressed. You're feeling discouraged. You're feeling overwhelmed. You're feeling down on yourself, and you don't even realize why. It's because we created a momentum of failure that's caused us not to want to accomplish our goals. And so if you want to get back into alignment, one of the things that you have to do is start fulfilling your promises to yourself. And one way that I've learned to do this, because I used to be really ambitious, setting big, hairy, audacious goals and saying that I'm going to do this today and I'm going to do that. But one thing that I've learned to do is prioritize what's most important. And so instead of setting 25, 30 goals for yourself in one day, just set 3 major goals. What are 3 things that would absolutely make you feel like a success if you accomplish them today? And so set you 3 or 4 major goals, things that you're going to accomplish. That way you start to build that momentum of success. You start to build that momentum of completing things and being a finisher, rather than causing that void and that vacuum and that cycle of failure by not accomplishing things. Okay, so the number 8th thing that you want to immediately stop doing if you want to get back into alignment with yourself is stop breaking your promises to yourself. The number 7 thing that you want to stop doing to get into alignment is stop sitting on your purpose. Don't sit on your purpose. Don't sit on your gifts. Don't sit on your talents. Don't sit on your assignment. Don't sit on your assignment. There's a scripture in the Bible says that, Lord, teach me to number my days, that we might apply our hearts to wisdom. If you want to apply your heart to wisdom and use your time wisely, start to number your days. Start to think about how you can make the most of every single day. Don't sit on your purpose. I believe that our purpose is our own personal gold mine. Our gifts, our talents, they're our own personal gold mine. And it won't only bless us, but it's going to bless other people too. But when we sit on our purpose, what happens is that we start to lose momentum. We start to lose inspiration. We start to devalue ourselves and what's inside of us. And there's a quote that I put on Instagram. It says, don't let what you don't have cause you to not use what you do have. We all have something, but a lot of times we're looking at what other people have and what they do, and it stops us from using what we have. But one of the ways that we maintain alignment is that we use the gifts that we have, we use the talents that we have, and we begin to implement them. So don't sit on your purpose, don't sit on your talents. One thing, there's a quote that says, do one thing every day that scares you. A lot of times we're sitting on our purpose because we're intimidated, because we're in fear, because we don't want to fail. We don't want to make a mistake. So we're sitting on our purpose. We're not fulfilling our purpose. But the only way to break that is to do something every day that scares you. Do something every single day that is outside your comfort zone and make that a pattern, make that a habit, doing things that are outside of your comfort zone. And before you know it, you've built up a sense of momentum and you become somebody different. You become something different. You become somebody who's able to accomplish more and more and more. And so again, the number 7 thing to do, or stop doing immediately if you want to get back into alignment, is to stop sitting on your purpose. Start to walk out your purpose. Start to live in purpose. The number 6 thing that you want to stop doing immediately if you want to get into alignment is stop living disorganized. Stop living disorganized. Stop being disorganized. One thing that we don't often realize is that disorganization, that environment of disorganization, it really zaps our energy. It really is taking energy away from us. If you have a lot of clutter around you, you have a lot of disorganization around you, whether you realize it or not, your mind is aware of it. On a subconscious level, you're aware of the disorganization around you, and it affects you. It affects us when we have a lot of disorganization, a lot of broken things. If you have, a broken cup that you're using, your watch is broken, your earrings are broken, those things affect us on a subconscious level. And we want to get rid of broken things, get rid of disorganization, get rid of clutter. It's something freeing about getting rid of things that you don't need. One thing that I try to do at least once a year is go through towels, go through sheets, go through dishes and things that I don't use anymore, clothes, and get rid of them. It's something freeing about clearing up your space. It clears up your mind where you don't have to go searching for clothes every single morning to find something to wear, or searching for your birth certificate when you need it, searching all the time because we can't find these things. It depletes us and it drains us of our energy. And so stop living disorganized. Also, I believe that it's a reflection of our inner self. Our surroundings, it's really a reflection of what's going on inside of us. We tend to manifest outside of us what we're feeling inside. And so even if you are feeling out of alignment, one thing that you can do to change that is to change your outer environment. Put things around you that inspire you. Put things around you that motivate you. Put things around you that arouse your creativity, that arouse your inspiration, rather than things around you that, the picture is crooked and the frame is broken and the cup is on its last leg, right? So we want to change out all of these things one by one. Just start changing things out of your environment that are causing you to drain your energy, that's draining your energy, and start putting things around you that inspire you. Okay, so the number 6 thing that you want to do, that you want to stop doing immediately if you want to get back into alignment, is stop living disorganized. Number 5, the number 5 thing that you want to do, and this is really important if you want to get into alignment, or that you want to stop doing if you are out of alignment, is stop putting off getting help. Stop putting off talking to someone. Stop putting off getting a coach or a therapist or an accountability partner. It is so important that the people around us, the people that God has placed in our life, in our space, they're there to help us. Excuse me, they're there to help us. We all have these gifts. We all have talents. People have abilities that they can help you. And a lot of times we delay our own pain. We delay pain. We stay in a place of brokenness because we put off getting help. We put off talking to somebody who has a solution, who has the answer to what it is we're going through. And so stop putting off getting help. If that means going to a therapist, get you a therapist. Talk to somebody about your problems. Talk to somebody about your childhood. Talk to somebody about your marriage. Talk to somebody about your children, whatever it might be. If it means getting a coach, stop putting off getting a coach. Somebody that's going to push you to the next level. Somebody that's going to challenge you. Somebody that's going to see what's in you and push you towards that. Stop putting off getting a mentor, somebody who sees your potential and who's going to help you reach it. Stop putting off getting an accountability partner, somebody who is going to help you stay in integrity with your own goals, your own dreams, your own purpose, the things that you set up for yourself. One of the main ways that we stay out of alignment is that we put off getting the help that we need. Okay, so the number 5 thing to do, to stop doing, if you want to get into alignment, is stop putting off getting help. Talk to somebody, reach out, talk to the person at your church, talk to the elderly mother, talk to a friend, talk to somebody. Stop putting off talking to people who are able to help you, who have the keys and they're able to help you. The number 4 thing that you want to stop doing immediately in order to get back into alignment, and this kind of goes with some of the other ones that I've already talked about, is stop entertaining distractions. Stop entertaining distractions. We live in a world that is full of distractions, that is full of things that are pulling for our attention, that are pulling for our energy. And in order to stay in alignment, don't entertain distractions. I believe that a distraction can be a person, a place, a thing. A distraction can be anything. I think that a distraction is anything that is out of timing, right? So it could be going to the movies. I mean, it could be something good like going out with friends, going out with your spouse. But if it's at the wrong time, it's a distraction. It could be spending too much time doing a good thing. That can also be a distraction. So a distraction is anything that is coming at you out of timing. If it's not the right time to take a break, then that becomes a distraction. If it's not the right time to work out, you worked out the 3rd time today, that can be a distraction. Anything that's taking you out of alignment with the goals and the plans that you set for yourself can be a distraction. And what the enemy is trying to do, he's trying to take our focus. Anything that is going to steal our focus is going to cause us to veer off track. And so there's always something that's going to be fighting for your focus and fighting for your attention. And our responsibility in every moment has to be to discern what's important right now and what's not important right now. What do I need to put off for later, and what do I need to do right now? So the number 4 thing that you want to do if you want to get back into alignment is stop entertaining distractions. Start pointing out, you know what, this is a distraction. Having my phone on right now is a distraction. Me going to go and watch this TV show right now, that's a distraction. Me going to, even something positive at the wrong time, it becomes a distraction. And distractions will always take you out of alignment. They're going to take you off track. They're going to take you out of your focus. So identify those distractions and cut them off. The number 3 thing that you want to stop doing immediately, if you need to get back into alignment, is to stop labeling your situations in a way that cause you pain. Stop labeling certain situations that you face in your life that cause you pain. Don't label them in a way that cause you pain, right? So we all control the way that we look at things. We all control the way that we see things. We control what a situation is in our life. And a lot of times we're on emotional roller coasters because of our own judgment, because of our own outlook, because of our own perspective. We put ourselves on this emotional roller coaster. You know, it's funny. I don't know if you've ever had someone who maybe you were going through a particular situation and you didn't see it a certain way, but somebody came and said, man, that's awful. I would hate it if my girlfriend, my boyfriend did something like that to me. And maybe you weren't even seeing it that way. Maybe you didn't even look at that way, but it caused you to completely shift the way you felt about a certain situation, completely shift the way that you looked at this particular situation because somebody labeled it in a certain way and you took on the label. And so we have to be aware that we have the power to label. We have the power to control how we feel about a certain situation by how we label it. You might be going through a challenge in a relationship, maybe with a parent or a spouse. You know, one way that I learned to look at things, I thought about David. You know, there would be no David without a Goliath. And a lot of times we want to slay our Goliaths too soon before they make us into our David, until they make us into that David, the character of David. And so you have to reframe the way you look at it. Maybe that challenging person or that challenging situation in your life is developing you into the David, is developing you into a warrior, is developing you into the person who you need to become in order to help other people. And so one of the ways that we can shift our situations is that we can change how we label the situation. We can change the way that we look at it. We can change the way that we're seeing the effects. How is this thing affecting me? How is this helping me? How is this benefiting me? How is this person, this place, this situation that may be challenging? How is it helping to propel me towards my destiny, to propel me into the person that I need to become? And so if you change the way that you look at things, the things that you look at will change. We all see life through the lens of our own experiences, our own past, our own circumstances. So we can both be going through a particular situation, but I label it this way and you label it that way. You want to start to train yourself to label things in a way that benefit you. Label the situation in a way that it propels you to grow, to mature, to master. That's one thing that I'm training myself to do, to look at every situation in a way that it doesn't bring me down. It doesn't make me depressed, that I'm not wallowing in my own sorrow and pain, but I'm choosing to look at it in a way that is going to build me up and push me forward. Okay, so the number 3 thing you want to do if you want to get back into alignment, or stop doing immediately if you want to get back into alignment, is stop labeling your situation in a way that causes you pain. The number 2 thing, the number two thing that you want to stop doing immediately if you want to get back into alignment is stop believing everything you think. Stop believing everything you think. So this kind of ties into the last one. Understanding that the way we think, number 1, is shaping our experience. The way that we think, the way that we're seeing things is shaping how we see it, and is shaping our emotions. And so you want to start challenging your own thoughts. You want to start challenging the way that you're looking at things, because the way that you're looking at things is causing it to show up that way to you in life. One of the things that we all have a challenge with is distinguishing a fact versus our own interpretation. So there's a fact about what actually happened, and then there's our interpretation of what happened. Someone might cut you off in the road, and you interpret it as disrespect. They saw the color of my skin and they cut me off this way, but really they were just on their way to the hospital because maybe their wife was pregnant. And so there's what really happened, and then there's our interpretation of what happened. And so we have to be careful that we don't make stuff up in our mind. We all tend to make things up, and then we believe what we made up. We create a story, and then we believe the story. And that causes us to feel a certain way. That causes us to experience things a certain way. And so you want to start challenging the way you think. You want to start not believing everything that you think. Another thing that we tend to do is we tend to misunderstand people's intent. We tend to misinterpret other people, and we all give ourselves more grace a lot of times than we give other people. We may have done something wrong. We may have offended somebody. We may have hated on somebody, but we understand our intentions. I did this for this reason, right? But somebody else, when they cut us off or they do us wrong, or, we automatically disregard their intention. So we all are giving ourselves more grace than we're giving other people. We're all misinterpreting things a lot of times. We think that we know, but we really don't know the intentions of a person's heart. We really don't know what they were thinking and why they did what they did. And so one of the things that you want to stop doing immediately is stop believing everything you think. I was talking to a lady today, and she was crying and depressed and going through, but it's because she created something in her mind. And I was like, well, I just talked to you yesterday and you were fine. And I talked to her today, and she's choosing to see her life totally different. And that's a choice. And so I challenge her, stop believing everything you think. Every thought that crosses your mind, you don't have to attach it. You don't have to take hold of it and start festering on it. Start fostering that thought. We want to start challenging what we're thinking and stop believing everything we think. So that's the number 2 thing we want to stop doing immediately in order to get back into alignment. Challenge your thoughts. Stop believing everything you think. Okay, and the number 1 thing, the number 1 habit that you want to stop immediately, if you want to get back into alignment with yourself, is stop ignoring your needs. Stop ignoring your needs. Now, this is something that I've kind of had a challenge with for a long time, especially with believers, because there's an acronym a lot of people say. It's JOY, Jesus, Others, You. And I don't really just believe that's biblical. I don't believe that we're called to put everything and everybody above ourselves, ahead of ourselves. So one thing that you want to do if you want to get back into alignment is you want to stop ignoring your own needs. When I think about what this looks like, especially for moms, a lot of times I find this for moms and wives. I find this to be something that we tend to struggle with a lot because we think that we have to be everything for everybody and set ourselves on fire to keep everybody else warm. But one of the things that I've learned to look at it is that I look at it like a hand. In the center of the hand, it has to be a desire to please God, right? Because we always say put God first, and I understand the concept and I believe that, but I believe that the center has to be a desire to please God. At the heart of every believer has to be a heart to please God. Because if you have a heart to please God, then everything else is going to flow naturally in divine alignment. It's going to flow according to God's will for you. So at the center of your life has to be a desire to please God. And then there's you. Right. And so this is us, and everything else is our assignments, our roles, our responsibility, parenting, employee, wife, whatever your roles are. At the center is this desire to please God. And then there's you. And so when you put yourself first, centered around this desire to please God, then you have the ability and the capacity to be everything for the other people that you need to be. And so for especially, like I said, for wives and mothers, but I believe it's true for everyone, we have to learn how to put yourself first. It's not synonymous with selfishness. We tend to say that it's selfish to put yourself first, but really putting yourself first is synonymous with wisdom. It's wise to put yourself first, because I always tell people, if you're at 10%, all you can give is 10%. If you're at 20%, all you can give is 20%. If you're at 50%, all you can give is 50%. But if you're at 100%, then you can give 100%. And so this is how this works. When you put yourself first and your desire is to please God, then everything that you do is going to be centered around that. And if you think about it, even if you don't put yourself first and you're doing things for other people, you could still be doing it for your own glory rather than for God's glory. But when you put yourself first, put your own needs first, you have to make time for yourself. You have to spend time with yourself. And also doing that teaches us how to teach other people to do that. We teach our kids how to put themselves first, how to center their life around God when we learn how to do it. But whenever we start to put everybody else ahead of ourselves, we start to not take the time to develop spiritually, not take the time to read and grow, not take the time to work out, not take the time to rest, we automatically begin to deplete. We automatically begin to drain ourselves. We automatically begin to burn out. And this is a recipe for getting out of alignment when we don't know how to put ourselves first, centered around a desire to please God. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense, and I explain that in a way where it doesn't sound sacrilegious. But the number one thing you want to stop doing immediately is putting off your own needs. Don't put off your needs. Put your needs first with the desire to please God, and all these other things are naturally going to be taken care of because you have a desire to be a good steward over them and to do them and to take care of them for the glory of God. Okay? So those are the 10 things that I have, that if you want to get back into alignment, you feel like your life is out of alignment, see if any of these 10 things you are practicing them, and stop doing them immediately. And I'm going to take the conference call off of mute. I want to take some questions. So if you have some questions, I want to take your questions at this time. But I'm also going to read back through this again for anybody that got on late. Hello. Anybody that got on late, I want to read back through these again, okay? So 10 things to stop doing today to get back into alignment. Number 10 is to decrease your social media and your news watching throughout the day. It can be a distraction. It can take you out of alignment. Number 9 is stop creating limitations for yourself. Yes, I will post the list. Number 8 is to stop breaking promises to yourself, because this causes us to devalue ourselves and to begin to lose confidence in our ability to accomplish our goals. Number 7 is to stop sitting on your purpose. So fulfill your assignment, use your gifts, use your gold mine, use your purpose, and it will help you to get back into alignment. Number 6 is to stop living disorganized. Start clearing the clutter. Get rid of broken things. Get rid of things that don't work. Get rid of things that cause you to feel uninspired. Number 5 is to stop putting off getting help. Stop putting off getting help. If you need a coach, you need therapy, you need counseling, you need a mentor, you need an accountability partner, get the help that you need. Number 4 is stop entertaining distractions. That's people, places, or things that are out of timing. If it's out of the wrong timing, then it's a distraction. Number 3 is to stop labeling your situation in a way that causes you pain. Number 2 is to stop believing everything you think. And number 1 is to stop ignoring your needs. Okay, so I want to take a couple of questions. So if you have any questions, please post them. I've started doing 10 as of the first of the year. I was spending way too much time on Twitter, just getting angry. Yes, exactly. And that's how I was. I used to watch the news faithfully every morning. And by 6:30, 7 a.m., I was depressed. I was discouraged. I tend to be very empathetic. And so I was just way too engaged in the news. But it's called television programming for a reason. They're programming you. They're training you what to think, how to think, why to think. And so those things are very ineffective in the grand scheme of things, in the grand scheme of you fulfilling your purpose and your assignment. So I believe that we do need to stay engaged. We do need to know what's going on. But I recommend, if you're somebody that just has to know every single day, 6, 3, 9, 10, whatever times the news come on, is to read it instead of listening to it, just read the highlights, read the most important things. But yes, I did the same thing. I was getting angry and too empathetic. So it's not a good practice. How do you put yourself first? Yes, I'm very passionate about this, probably because I didn't know how initially, and I felt the drain that happens when you don't know how to put yourself first. And the first thing that I would say to do is write out what you need. Like, what is it that you need? And be able to answer that question without feeling like you're being selfish. It's not selfish. It's not self-centered. It's wise to put yourself first. So the first thing you want to do is figure out what you need. What do you need? Do you need more rest? Do you need more time to yourself? Do you need a break? And be able to say that without any reservation. So discover what you need and give yourself permission. I think I said this last time. Give yourself permission to have these things and to do these things. One of the things that I suggest for parents especially is to set boundaries with your kids. If you're somebody that has kids and, you find yourself giving too much, you really have to set boundaries with your kids. Teach your kids, this is me time, go away. And they're okay. They'll live, they'll survive. And it will train them on how to set boundaries when they get married, have kids. It'll train them how to make time for themselves. But you have to set boundaries. Everything can't be work. Everything can't be taking care of your spouse. Everything can't be taking care of your kids. You have to have time for you. So hopefully that helps, Passion. Yes, I will put the list out. I'll let politics make my life less happy. Yeah. So that's really good. At the end of the day, the way I see it is that, the ultimate goal, and I'll speak for myself, as a believer and for any other believers, I don't associate too strongly with anything. I don't associate too strongly with, with my race. I don't associate too strongly with a political party. I don't associate too strongly with these things because what they tend to do is bring us out of alignment. The most important thing for me as a believer is that I'm Christ-centered, right? And so whatever politician is most Christ-centered, whatever, group is focused on advancing those things, that's what I align myself with. Because otherwise these things can take us so off track and so far off course before we even realize it. We have, begin to identify people and things with labels rather than with right and wrong and with greater good. So that's just one of the things that I've had to work through. And I totally agree with you that, we have to keep the main thing, not major or minors, but keep the main thing. I let them argue and let them fight. And I'm going to stick with what's right and pray for what's right to happen. Okay. Any questions? Any other questions? Any questions on the conference call? Okay. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Any other questions on things that you can do to stay in alignment or things to stop doing if you feel like you're out of alignment? Yes. Let me see if I can put this. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, this is such a wonderful teaching that you're giving us. Wonderful for women, for people just in general. But my question is, you talked about how we tell lies to ourselves, how we lie to ourselves in so many cases, which puts us out of alignment. So how can we bring into captivity those proper thoughts when we tell lies to ourselves? How do we identify that we're lying to ourselves and then come back into alignment and begin to tell ourselves, the truth? So what are ways that we can do that?
Great question. So the first thing you said was, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay, I took the headphone off. I believe that one of the ways that we identify it is that we really look at, my husband always says that the scoreboard shows what it really is. Like, we can all say that we're doing a certain thing or that we're being a certain way, but the scoreboard of our life shows what's really happening. If I said I was going to lose 20 pounds and I get on the scale and I gain 10, like, it is what it is. I can make up an excuse. I can say I had a hernia, but the scoreboard of our life really shows what is really happening. So I believe that one of the ways, number one, that we become aware of it is if we set out these goals and these intentions for our life, and we haven't manifested them. Our relationships, we set relationship goals, they haven't changed. We set financial goals, our finances haven't improved. That we just have to be real that, I'm out of integrity. I'm out of integrity with my goals. I'm out of integrity with the things that I said I was going to accomplish for myself. And there are a couple of different things that I believe that we can do about that. Number one is like you said, awareness, because awareness is always the first step. Just to become aware that, I'm really not in integrity. And then number two is to kind of get to the root of that. I did this with myself not too long ago, where I started to examine, okay, why haven't you stepped out in this particular area? There was some things that I wanted to accomplish, and I just hadn't done it. I was putting them off. And I really had to spend some time by myself just thinking. And I probably was thinking for maybe 30 minutes to an hour, writing down different things that came to my mind. Why are you not doing this? And I got to the root of it. I was just afraid to fail. I was afraid, of what other people would think, And so if you sit down, you get with yourself, why have I not taken action? Why have I not accomplished this? And really be real, you'll get to the root. And from there, spiritually speaking, I think you mentioned, pulling down those strongholds. You want to start feeding yourself positivity, or feeding yourself truth. Like it's not that, being afraid is at the end of the day is a scapegoat, And so I had to start feeding myself truth and feeding myself different things that was going to help me to get over that. And then the other thing I did was got an accountability partner. And so now I talk to somebody in my church, and we set goals, and we say, okay, this is what I'm going to do, by Monday. And so she texts, she has like an automatic text thing where she sends me text messages, this is what you're supposed to do, so it could be something that practical, it could be something that practical. So you want to get to the root of it, and then you want to start setting systems in place that's going to help support you in doing what it is that you said you want to do.
Wow, thank you. That's an awesome response. Thank you.
Absolutely. Great question. Thank you for asking. So are there any other questions? Tribalism has taken a stronghold on a lot of people. Yes, so much division. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think the thing is that you want to be aware of it. Like when you see that, like you said, the tribalism, the division. At first, I used to get sucked into it, and I think we all do, because we can so identify ourselves with a group of people or with an organization that we get sucked in it. We start believing like they believe. We start groupthink, but I think the first thing is to be aware of it. Whenever I felt myself getting upset and angry, which is nothing wrong with that, because if in the sense that righteousness is still right, like you want to fight for righteousness, but we also want to realize that the battle is not ours. And so when I realized that it's not me that has to do the fighting, okay, the most that I can really do is speak out for truth and to pray about it. But at the end of the day, I need to let it go. I need to give it back to God so that my righteousness doesn't cause me to be self-righteous. And so we have to be really careful of that, getting too linked up with certain groups or organizations or political parties that we become unbiblical, we become ungodly because of, our connection to this group. Other than reading the Bible daily, is there anything you do every day to help you embrace the day? That is a great question. And I actually want to do a training on that, because I believe that we really need a morning routine. We need something that we do consistently every morning that helps us get to really embrace the day. So for myself, I actually have a list. I actually have a list that I try to keep on my desk and look at, that I check off. And so I have things like you said, reading the Bible. There are certain books that I try to read every single day. Affirmations. I'm really big on affirmations because they help train your mind what to think. Instead of us just thinking, again, whatever emotion comes up and now we're festering on that. Affirmations help to train us what to think. And so I create my own affirmations in my phone to music, and I listen to them in the morning. So So every day, specifically in the morning, I would say one thing that you can do is set a morning routine, something that helps you to get into the right flow in the morning to help you to embrace the day. Hopefully that answers your question. But I have a lot of thoughts on that. And so I will share that. I will do a live on that because I think that's so important. Yes, the battle is not ours. Yes, the battle is not ours. And when we try to take it on, we will definitely get weighed down and angry and burdened. And then we become like the people who we are, standing against. And so it's a very subtle thing that I think the enemy has done in America to cause division, even among believers, is to cause us to get so connected to a particular group or party, that we become unchristlike. And so I agree with you. Absolutely, Kathy. I will definitely keep you in prayer. Kathy. Okay. One thing is to remind ourselves how big God is on every waking morning. Yes, I love that. Remind yourself how big God is. What books in the Bible do you recommend for spiritual growth? All of them, like the whole Bible. Honestly, I recommend the whole Bible. Maybe getting on a system to where you read. Or maybe getting on a system to where you read through it. But specifically Proverbs. I think Proverbs are great because it's so much wisdom in Proverbs. And, the Bible says that we're destroyed for lack of knowledge, not for a lack of social media or anything else. It's for lack of knowledge. So I would say start with Proverbs because it's such amazing wisdom in Proverbs. And it's 31, so you can read a chapter every day. But definitely the whole Bible because, God speaks. Like you read and it's like what you need to hear is right there in that scripture. Okay. Any other questions? These are awesome questions. I appreciate it. Amen. Any other questions? I appreciate you guys for joining on and for questions. Thank you. God bless you.